We have with us Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow of ORF. With us is Kamar Agha, Foreign Affairs expert. Also with us is Ali Rizk, writer and analyst from Lebanon. We have Aaron Eaton, Mayor, who's an attorney and a Middle East expert. But let me begin with John Rossomando, who's a geopolitical and national security strategist. John Rossomando, the kind of imagery put out by Donald Trump, I'm going to come up with this latest update that he's deleted that Truth Social post, from Ohio Republican congressman as well as, Nathaniel Moran's tweet. There are others, including Senator Lisa Murkowski, who have actually called all this imagery as extremely offensive. Notwithstanding his political opposition, there's opposition coming in from his own political party, and clearly Trump is feeling the heat after projecting himself as Jesus Christ.
Well, I'll have to say that, from a religious standpoint, it's tasteless, it's pointless, and the president owes Catholics and Christians an apology for doing that. I think that, the president's, points of disagreement with the Holy Father with regard to his support for open borders and his opposition to the war, which I would argue, in contrast to the Holy Father, is a just war because the Islamic Republic of Iran has been at war with the United States for 47 years and is an aggressor against his neighbors. I mean, St. Thomas Aquinas, talked about war and deterring aggressors. I don't know what else, this war is, but I think that the president's, over-the-top rhetoric aimed at the Holy Father and this Jesus image is something that a lot of people find offensive and he should apologize for.
Right. And let me bring in Sushant Sareen on that. Sushant Sareen, what really is going on? Is it the frustration? We saw the expletive-laden tweets that have been put out on social media. But in this case, Trump has gone a step too far, perhaps alienating his own voter base with this kind of imagery. And John Rossomando, who's normally very supportive of Trump, is perhaps the best example of that right here on our panel.
No, I think, look, this is true to character. Actually, even a couple of days back, I was also thinking that maybe Trump is actually losing it. He's losing control over, his senses and the kind of tweets he's doing. But I suppose in his own mind, he thinks that that is his good negotiating strategy. And I was hearing one of his interviews today. He was saying that, he said, yes, I'll kill this civilization. But then he kind of turned it around and he said, well, every second day in Iran, they are saying death to America and death to Israel. Nobody has ever objected to that. Then why the hell are you objecting to what I've said? So, look, I don't have to defend him, but I can figure out where he's coming from. And then, of course, he's had this spat with the Pope. Frankly, I think this is the greatness of America, that you have a political leader who asserts his political rights and is not going to be cowed down by any Pope or any other holy, any other religious figure because he disagrees with him. And I would imagine for pretty right reasons. It's very rich for the Pope to say, open up your borders, allow everybody in. He's not responsible for running the United States or any other country, right? He runs a 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer territory and he thinks that's the kingdom of God. Good luck to him. But not everybody has to kowtow to that. Again, I can understand people feeling a little offended by the kind of imagery Trump did, but that's his way of trolling people. It's good that he's deleted that tweet. But I think, Madhav, on a more substantive note, I think to be fair to Trump, and frankly, it sounds very weird saying to be fair to Trump because of the kind of person he is. He can rile up anybody. But the thing is that I think he understands that where this war has reached at this point in time, the one way of stopping this war and coming to an acceptable deal is with his bluster, his bullying, all of that which he is doing, trying to threaten the Iranians into submission, all of that, this religious blockade thing which he is doing, because the alternative is that this war actually escalates. And if this war escalates, it's going to have a devastating impact, not just on Iran, but Iran will also hit back. it destroys the economy of the entire region.
Okay.
For many, many years. It pulls in other countries of the region. This war spreads. The instability spreads. The entire region is destabilized. I think
I
you
got your point.
understand.
Let me get in other panelists as well, please, on this. Ali Rizk, I want you to come in on this. Do you agree with Sushant Sareen when he says if Trump doesn't do this, then the alternative is much worse, where the war spreads or worse still drags on for a much longer period of time? Do you agree with that contention? Ali Rizk.
No, I don't agree. I think that when you make a mistake, the correct thing to do is to take the right step, correct that mistake, not to double down on the same mistake. And I think what Donald Trump is doing now is doubling down on the same mistake. He clearly miscalculated when he took the decision to go to war against Iran. He was deceived by the Israelis and the Israel First Club in Washington. People like Lindsey Graham and others, and Joe Kent, by the way, said this in his resignation letter. But instead of turning course, he might be doubling down. Now, it's not clear. He has threatened to do this, but I'm not sure how far he's willing to go. That would be a big stain, I think, on his legacy. If he wants to preserve some kind of legacy, I think that what he should do is to reach a fair agreement with Iran, to put Israel aside, to realize that support for Israel has just cost too much. I do have a quick comment about what was said about Iran launching aggressions against its neighbors. You have to remember that the two wars which the Islamic Republic has been involved in, Saddam Hussein back in the 80s, June last year, and now, in all of those three cases, Iran didn't start the war. It was the other side that started the war, and Iran responded. Now, if you look at Israel, on the other hand, my country, Lebanon, has been bombarded. There were massacres against civilians, innocent civilians, last Wednesday, which I'm sure you heard about. Syria, countless cases of Israeli insanity and Israeli barbarity.
Okay.
So if there's anyone who is an aggressor in the region, it's Israel.
Okay.